With me today in this present moment is Abby. Abby's a fund holder at the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation and has been working with us for a number of years supporting causes that are near and dear to her. Abby, tell us a little bit about what you care about, what you've been supporting through your fund.
The history is a bit relevant. My husband, Ken, sold a business and we came into some capital and we thought, what's the best thing to do? And we learned about this foundation and that the funds were donor advised, so we could have some say. That whole idea of helping people who could use some help fits with me as a social worker, the way I grew up in Massachusetts during the Second World War, when we were always sending food packages to Europe and all. I have known giving as being a way of life since I was a little girl. And Ken came readily to that, being self-effacing, quiet, reserved, not showy.
I'd love to know what kinds of things you've been supporting.
We've been supporting Carleton College, where we met, the Wilder Foundation, where I did lots of my training, music, St. Paul Chamber Orchestra in particular, because that's a passion of ours. We've been supporting causes that bring food and housing to people who don't have those. We've been supporting youth organizations because we believe in giving youth a good start.
So your giving really has been about supporting the kinds of institutions that anchor people to our state, and then supporting the kinds of programs that those people anchored in our state build to give life and dignity and hope to young people and to those in need.
We've thought a lot about giving overseas. I mean, there are so many causes, but we've decided to give at home. And then, as I guess you know, our children have joined us.
How is that working? How do you roll that out with them?
We gave each of our children a sum of money and asked them to donate it to causes that were important to them. And our eldest daughter is like us, I guess, and she gives to her faith community and to food shelves and in her community, things like that. Our second daughter runs a Parkinson's Foundation and is very committed to helping people with disabilities related to Parkinson's disease. And our son is very interested in climate and wildlife and nature and rescuing animals. And so he always has his eye and ear tuned to those kinds of causes. And now they're on their own, but they're going to take this over as we're no longer here or we're no longer with it in our heads or whatever. And they know our values. They've learned our values.
What I love about donor advised fund holders and programs is you get to find your passion, but you're investing in others who do the work, who share that passion with you. It's always about partnering with community.
I have a hot button now also about anti-racism and want to have an impact there.
Well, thank you for that passion. It's the priority for the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation with our own resources. How do we build and strengthen a community in which all people thrive? I know you also work with Heidi in our offices as a philanthropic.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to share about what it's like to work with the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation?
I guess I'd like to share that it's easy. What we need, we've always received. What kind of help, information, documents. It's just been seamless. I know Heidi likes me to talk about my interest in the Community Sharing Fund, which was very important to me when I was doing medical social work through Wilder. And I'd go to the homes of people who had so little. Of course, I applied for getting people help turning their heat back on and their lights back on and their phones back, all that kind of thing. It does the small things that make a huge difference.
I love that story. The Community Sharing Fund is 40 years old this year, and it's been one of those programs that I say it's what saves the heart of a social worker from being broken.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. You could make a difference. And so often how in the world can we make a difference? It meant a way for me to provide some help and hope. Hope is as important as any other part of it.
Well, thank you for being a part of that. I love where your energy is. I love your passions. I love the way you plan to give in the future and the way you've given in the past. Thank you for being with us in this present moment.
You are welcome. Thank you, Eric, for what you're doing.